Hello, welcome back to episode 2 of Side Quest Girlies. In the last episode, we talked about how to revamp your portfolio resume and be ready for the job market. And now, let's say you have been massive applying and you finally got a reach back from the recruiter. So you're about to have your first recruiting screening call and you don't know what to do. That is our friend Reem and what she's currently facing. So the episode will be dedicated to how to prepare for your first recruiter call. And Reem, take it away.
Yippee! So yeah, it's my first recruiter call. I've never been in those before. So as Kaitlyn, as someone who's been through this, I have a couple questions. I think my first thing, I guess we could start with the basic, like, what do I expect? Is this gonna be like a casual conversation, or should I be more like serious? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I normally email back to ask them, like, what are some of the things that they want me to prepare for? Like, after they say, like, hey, I'm going to meet with you on a Wednesday at 2 p.m.
Oh, wait. So when would you did you send it the day of?
No, just like whenever the meeting is set up, because they'll reach out to you and they'll be like, hey, when are you free? And you're like, I'm free on these days. And, or sometimes they ask you to schedule over a Calendly or some sort of portal. And then once it's scheduled, then you can reach out to be like, okay, thanks for scheduling. Just curious, what is, um, what is something that I can expect?
Oh, that is actually a really good point. I didn't even think about doing that. Hmm. Okay. What if like
Yeah.
everything happened too fast? Next thing you know, your screening is the next day. How do I still send, like, would you recommend I would ask like that morning of too, or would you think that's a bit too like unprofessional?
I think that's okay. Let's say if your call is tomorrow, if it's
Yeah.
10 AM, I think at that point it's okay. You can ask outright on the call, but if it's like, 2 PM, 4 PM, give it a shot. They might or might not be able to get back to you. And
Okay.
also, it could also depend on whether it's a phone call or it's a link, so you'll know, like, how formal to be. Of course, like, dress something with a collar, but that's just what I usually like to do.
Okay. How long are they typically? Because like I guess do you think it would take like this one was scheduled, the one that I'm going to go through was scheduled for 30 minutes. So I'm
Mhm.
like, is that too much? I don't know.
What do you mean it's too much?
Like I guess like, I don't know, like, what's gonna happen at 30 minutes? That's kinda what I'm like, what is that gonna be like?
Oh, yeah. So if you can ask them, then ask. But if it's like everything happens so fast and it's tomorrow, I would say generally recruiting calls are about the job descriptions, and this
Uh-huh.
person might not be the the actual job
Mhm.
title that is interviewing you. Is just someone that's recruiting for that position, so they know some, and they'll expect you to be able to do an elevator pitch, which is how
Oh,
you sell your capability to the recruiter. And for the recruiter's goal is to screen you. First, are you an asshole? Second,
okay.
do you have the skills that matches the job posting? Like, can
Okay.
they see you moving forward? Because their whole goal is they don't want to send you to the hiring manager and have the hiring manager be like, why is this person talking to me? Like they don't even qualify.
That makes sense. Okay. So you kinda talk to them or the goal is to basically tell them enough to rely a good message about me, basically. Just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
Because
little
generally,
person.
yeah, almost like that. Like a salesperson, but you're just like giving them all your information and they'll be able to determine whether you're a good fit or not. And after the call, they usually like to write up something, just be like, oh, this candidate is a real person, has experience that matches resume, and I would recommend this person moving forward.
Gotcha. Okay, okay. So typically, I guess just kind of to get an idea, the hiring manager is not aware of me as a person, right? Like at this point, it's just the recruiter going through a bunch of resumes, be like, oh, let me check if this person is a good person to recommend to hiring manager. That's kind of typically what it is, like a screening.
I think it could be. There could also be chances where the hiring manager picked your resume and talked to the recruiter and be like, "Hey, can you do a screening just to see if this person is actually legit?"
Gotcha. Okay, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
How would you say to go about the whole structure of the meeting? Like, I guess it's a more of a
Mhm.
conversation, right? Like, or do I just wait for them to ask me questions?
I think you can treat it like any other meet and greet, like connection meeting, where
Okay.
you see each other and you're on call. You're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they'll ask you how's it going. And I always like to appreciate. them reaching out to me.
Mhm.
So I'll just say like, "Hey, thank you so much for scheduling the call. I really appreciate this opportunity. I look forward to learn more." And the person will be
Okay.
like, "Oh, sweet." I give them like a natural segue to talk about the job descriptions. And then I'll be like, "Okay, okay, sounds good." And then usually they'll ask, "Hey, can you tell me a little bit about you?" And I usually make a little lighter joke. If I can make someone laugh, I feel
Mhm.
like I usually have a good way in. So I'll be like, "Obviously, you already have my resume, but this is what I can do." And then I do my introduction in a format that's like present, past, and future.
Present, past, and future. What do you mean by that? Well, I guess I'll let you get to it.
Yeah. So my name is Caitlin.
Oh,
Currently, I'm a product designer at Esri. I used to work at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, where I get to work on projects such as XYZ. And I'm looking for my new position because I wanted to grow more in my career.
okay.
So I have my current, I have what I have done in the past, and I have what I'm looking forward. Why am I looking for a job?
Okay. That makes sense. Hmm. And that's like your elevator pitch?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I usually try to pivot to every company I'm talking to. So this
Mhm.
is my standard. And if I know more about that company, then I'll throw something that might be of their interest.
Gotcha. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Huh. And then
and I
what
usually
question?
will write it. Oh, so
Oh, you
sorry.
write it? No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll write it in my notepad, and I will plug into ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, I'm interviewing company XYZ. This is my recruiting call. Can you edit my pitch?" And I'll
Gotcha.
paste it in, and then they'll like edit my pitch. I don't read off the script at all, but I at least use it as a jumping point.
Yeah. Okay, okay. That makes sense. Okay, typically from the ones you've been through, after that elevator pitch, what comes next? I guess just I kind of want to familiarize myself. Or I know
Mhm.
it's not the same in every scenario, but
Yeah, and it's different from product design to like software engineering to testing. I think from for me, usually the next question is, "Hey, can you walk me through a project?"
oh,
Or
okay,
they'll dive into, "Why are you looking?" Or they'll ask, "What do you know about our company?" And sometimes they'll give a little pitch about their own company, and they really wanna know, "Why are you interested in us?" So it depends on the next step, and sometimes they have their unique conversation,
okay. That makes sense. What do you do if you don't know how to answer questions?
such as, "Why are you interested in the company?"
Or more so like let's say I mean, I'm again, it's you did say it's different. Or what if they ask they're like, oh, like have you worked on something like that? Or I guess what if he is like, oh, walk me through something, and you're like, oh, I don't really have an example that fits that. Like, what do you say in that situation? Or like, what are
Mhm.
examples?
Yeah, and I think that's where interview prep comes in.
Okay.
You want to have a pitch, and you want to anticipate some of the questions they might be asking you. And it's okay if your first call doesn't work out, but at least you can collect the questions they were asking you so that you'll know better next time. So one of the
Okay.
things I like to do is to ask the AI, "Hey, I'm talking to this company for a recruiting call on this position. What do you think the recruiter would be interested to learn about me? What are some of the questions they might be asking me?" And then I'll look at
Okay.
those questions and I'll write almost like doing English homework. Like there's a question and then you write out what you plan to talk about and then you feed it back to the LLM and be like, "Hey, what do you think about these? Like, is that okay? Should I like make it more concise or pivot to a different point?" So at least you're a little prepared and you want to have some stories in mind so
Okay.
that you don't blank out. But in the situation where they ask you a question and you're just like, "I really like, I'm just either nervous or I don't have anything that you're looking for," I would just be really honest. Like,
Okay.
"Hey, I don't have experience on what you're looking for. However," always put them a however. "I'm
Okay.
really fast in learning, and if I don't know something, this is the path that I will go. I will probably start Googling, I'll try to find some documentations, and I'll follow through and do a tutorial as a start. And I'll reach out to people who are in my network or who are more senior than me and see if they have done something or can point me to someone, and I'll go learn from them."
Okay. That makes sense. Love that. Okay. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
How
it's
about
about, like, understanding why they're asking you the question. They're first, they wanna know if you can do the job, but if you don't, like, do you have a way, a framework to find what you don't know?
you? Okay. That makes sense. I guess in my situation, okay,
Mhm,
because this is a security engineer position, which
mhm,
I have don't have work experience doing. I guess And this is kind of what I'm worried about a bit because I'm like, I'm reading through it and like there's stuff that I've done that could be translated into this position, but there's the
Mhm,
requirements that are listed there that I don't necessarily fit. But I've also had a background when I was in school that like, that doesn't put me far off of that, if that makes sense. So I guess in this situation, because like my intention, I'll probably go in and be like, well, to be honest, like I don't have directly that work experience, when the within like the work experience to support that, but I have always been interested, if that makes sense. Like I guess, yeah, that's what I'm worried about because I'm like, I know this position isn't directly what I have work experience in, so that's where I'm like, I feel like there'll be a lot of and nervousness in that situation.
mhm. Yeah, so I have 2 things. For being nervous, say it out loud to the
Yeah.
person. "Hey, this is my first recruiting call. I'm feeling very nervous." Just say it out loud to the person, and the person
Okay.
will understand, and also, they might give you a little bit more grace,
Okay.
so don't feel like you have to present yourself like 100%. Second,
Okay.
for the job description, you're saying that at work, you might not have experience, but academically, you have learned some of these things. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would review those concepts so that you know what you're talking about. And you can be very honest. Hey, at my current job, I don't have that, but that is exactly like you're trying to sell them. So you can say, that's exactly why I'm looking because I know I'm interested in this because I learned in school. And at school, I did XYZ. So you're helping them making that connection because they know you went to a college, but they don't understand what that college like taught you. So your job is to tell them what you're capable of doing, not from your current work, but what you have learned and how you will find information.
Okay. Yeah, you have a great point on that part. Okay,
Mhm.
I noted that down. Okay, that's sweet.
Wait, what
And then
was a
okay.
good point?
Oh, like I wrote it down, which is like, I don't have that in my current job, but that's why I'm looking for it,
Mhm.
to expand, to grow into that. So
Mhm.
I guess it's also kind of answers that question where it's like, why are you looking for a job? And that's where I'd be like,
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
the job I currently have isn't really like it's a really good opportunity to learn a lot of stuff, but it's also no, like I want to grow into different aspects that I'm more interested or invested into. I probably have to word that part better, but I guess I could use that to my advantage in a way. But
Mhm.
okay. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess like do I kind of bring up the question about like salary I guess do I assume they're going to ask like about salary relocation and like um
Mhm.
stuff like that, or do I ask, or, like, is that not a good
Right.
thing to do?
It's never a bad thing to do to talk about these upfront. And this is
Mhm.
something that I had to realize interviewing, it's like doing business. You are doing a business with a company. So before both party agree and you sign a contract, you want to talk about the terms, the specifics.
Mm,
And they never hurt to bring the conversation on early so that you're saving yourself time and the company's time.
okay.
And normally the recruiter will bring up those information because it's important to them for you to know the salary, for you to know relocation. Otherwise, they don't want you to go through rounds of interviews and when they're making you an offer and you're like, oh, actually, this is not what I was looking for and they couldn't even match your range, then you will be like, well, like I don't want to be here. And then a company is like, well, then we spend this much time and energy interviewing you. So it
Yeah.
is their job and their interest to let you know. However,
Okay.
they usually towards the end, they'll have about like 5 to 10 minutes of like questions. Like, hey Reem, do you have any questions for me? And if that hasn't been touched on, you could bring it up and be like, oh, I was looking at a job posting. I wasn't able to find a salary range and the location preferences. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay.
And then they'll just be like, okay, cool. The range is da da da. Or
Okay.
we expect you to be working outside or expect you to work remote. Like they'll let you know. And then they'll usually ask you, are you comfortable with that? And for
Okay.
salary, never give them the number. They'll ask you, so for salary, what do you expect? If they ask you that before telling you the range, try your best to defer that. Because
Ooh.
if they didn't tell you the range and you're like, oh, maybe I'm thinking 40K and their lowest range is 50, they're not going to tell you that. And they're just going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
if I offer 40K, then she's going to be happy with.
Ooh. Okay. How do you defer that, I guess?
If I could, I'll say, let me do some research and get back to you. I'm really interested in the role. So I'll try my best to make anything work.
Okay.
Or I'll be like, "Could you share a little ballpark for me to consider?" And they'll be like, I think we could go." Usually recruiters can give you a pretty close range within 10K, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like 113 to 123 is probably where we will land. And then you can pause for a moment. You can be like, "I think I'm okay with that." Or you can be like, "Let me think about it. Can I get back to you after our call?" They're not going to move you forward unless you sort of verbally agree, but
Okay.
you're also okay to change your mind like at any point during the interview.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
I
Cause
would
I like
also go
okay.
ahead. No, no, no,
Like,
you go.
I was just kinda wondering too, because I'm like, I mean, I don't necessarily, like, know if I should just, like, go along with stuff, if that makes sense. Like, if let's say he were to give me a range,
Mhm,
let's say, but it's a huge range, it's like, oh, like, from, like, 60 to 90K or something like that.
mhm.
Like, do I just be like, "Oh, "Okay," or well, what how like, do I specify or, like, what how does that go?
You ask yourself if 60K is acceptable for you, or you can say, "Oh, I'm aiming for higher in the range. Do you think it's possible for us?" So try to make it like us, like for us, not for me. Do you think it's possible for us?
Okay, okay. Okay, but another thing, because okay, I'm thinking, like, um, this position, security engineer, obviously, it says in the document shared, their first requirement is 1 plus year of security application security experience. I just realized
Mhm.
there's a typo in there too. But anyways, which I know I do not have that. So that's why I'm like, should I be more careful when it comes to that salary discussion? Because obviously it's like in my mind, if someone were like, well, you don't even have the experience, how could you be asking for more, if that makes sense?
That makes perfect sense. However, you also have huge growth potentials. So you don't know how much money you're gonna make the company.
That is true. That
So
is
think about that. And I would also think about how to turn that I don't have 1 year of experience to something similar. Hey, I don't have exactly what you're looking for. However, I've done things that are similar. And some phrases I use are my company is a little different. So this is what we do at our job, at our company. I understand it
okay.
might look different at yours
Okay.
because you can't be doing exactly the same thing. Company to company differs, right?
Yeah, that is true. Okay. Because I also know a huge plus that's going to be here is I have a cyber certificate, and
Mhm.
that's something that I think I could leverage. Because in my mind, I
Mhm.
could be like, I might not directly have experience that could translate into the like directly translate into the role, but I've earned my Security Plus certificate when I was in college, as I was really interested in it. Like, and then I'm very interested in transitioning into security engineering now. And I was just wondering if this role would consider like someone with like, strong testing fundamental and hands-on experience on that, and that is looking into pivoting into security. Is that something? I guess I don't know.
I would sound a little more confident. I know you
Okay.
don't have direct working experience. However, you have learned in school and you have a security certificate. So, from what I heard you just said, is that you actually have experience
Mhm.
with security. You actually learned about it and you got a certificate from it. Even
Okay.
though your work experience is different, but your overall experience, you have that experience.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you
Okay.
can make it very clear academically, I have security experience. And after getting the certificate, it's what got me interested in the space. And I'm
Yeah.
looking to focus more instead of saying pivot, which makes people think that you're making a huge career jump, but
Oh.
you can make it a little less scary. They say I'm looking to focus more on security.
Okay.
Like through my
Okay.
last job, I got to try so many different things, and I'm particularly interested in diving into the security space more.
Gotcha. Okay. Dang. Uh, there's a
You
lot that
got
I didn't think.
this.
I'm excited to be honest, just to like try
Hmm.
like this what it is and get an idea of what it's gonna be like. I just really
Hmm.
hope that the person I'm speaking to is also like more chill because I feel like the more not like chill the person I'm speaking to, the more relaxed I get. I'm like, yeah. The only other thing I think, what are things you'd say not to say, you know?
Try to sound confident. Don't leave
Okay.
them hanging. Make yourself likable.
Okay. Okay.
And I wouldn't not focus too much on salary. If the ballpark makes sense to you,
Yeah,
you could just be like, okay, cool. Like I'll move forward. Yeah.
that makes
But
sense.
going in with a number or with a range that you have in mind so that you're not wasting their time. Because if they
Okay.
offer you like 40K and your
um,
range is 65, like there's no way you guys could align.
makes sense. Yeah. Because like my perspective when it comes to salary is whatever
Mhm,
this is kind of where it's interesting. If I'm relocating, I want to make sure I'm able to obviously do well in the city and that I'm going to be relocating to.
mhm,
So that's my ballpark when it comes to figuring out my entry
mhm,
salary. So that's where
mhm,
I'm like, I'm not really necessarily picky. Like I don't want to be like 100K type of thing. I'm like, as long as I can survive in the city where I'm going to be working at, like I'm
mhm.
fine with it. But like, and that's part of me where it's like I'm aware right now with how much I'm getting paid. It's like, okay, I'm home. Obviously, I'm doing fine, but I don't know necessarily if, for example, 65K would be like something I could go off of, if that makes sense. If I were to like relocate to another city, especially if it's a big city. And that's kind of where I'm like, okay, how do I do this?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's totally fine. And your response is, hey, I wasn't able to find where this job is. Could you tell me the location? And then they're
Okay,
gonna pair up the salary and they're gonna ask you, are you okay with it? Or you don't if they didn't ask you anything, you don't have to tell them, just do your research afterwards. But if they're
okay,
asking you, hey Reem, are you okay with it? You can say, oh, I just learned about the locations today. I'll need to think about it and look up the cost of living to make sure that this is the right move for me.
okay, okay. This will be interesting then. Okay. I think I'm also gonna go ahead and like do a little bit of research before then and have that in mind.
Yeah. But I think I
Okay.
would really prep on not the salary portion, but
Mhm.
really focus on how to sell yourself to the recruiter so that later on they will fight for you to get you a really good salary.
Okay. That makes sense.
So if there's an order of prepping importance, I would say first, focus on your elevator pitch.
Okay.
Second, focus on your stories to answer some of the questions the recruiter might have. And you might reuse them when you go talk to the hiring manager. So your stories are consistent. And third, focus on drafting up questions for the recruiters. So when they ask you, hey, do you have any questions for me? Always have questions for them.
Okay.
And lastly, work on the salary to cost of living. And I
Okay.
think for any legit companies, they're not going to try to lowball you in anything.
Yeah. Okay. What are
So I
questions
wouldn't
you would
worry
want?
about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I use ChatGPT to help me prep that because I know I have some questions, but sometimes the recruiter might not be able to answer and they'll defer me to the hiring manager. So I usually start with some questions I have in mind and then I'll just like talk to ChatGPT almost like a career coach and be like, hey, I have my recruiting call. These are some of the questions I was thinking. What would you recommend I ask the recruiter? And ask yourself, what's the goal of this call? Your goal is to move forward and your goal is to get hired. So some of the questions I stop asking or how big is the team? What's the team structured? I can wait for that for the hiring manager because they will know more about the team.
Mhm.
What I want to know is what type of person they're looking for so that I can then further calibrate myself when I talk to the hiring manager. Of course, remain genuine, right? If they're looking for someone that you're just not it, I wouldn't want you to pretend. So some questions that out of ChatGPT that I've been using is like, hey recruiter, from your experience and you've been with the company for quite some time and you've seen candidates coming through. From your experience, what type of personalities or characters that you have seen that tend to succeed here? And they'll tell you, oh,
Yeah.
we want people who are da da da, who are not afraid of ambiguity or something like that. Then these are your cues to further calibrate when you're interviewing to the next round. You can be like, oh, you're gonna because you have so many great like facets. You have so many great characteristics, but you got to know which one to highlight to for that particular position.
Okay.
And you can also ask them, I'm curious, why did you open the position? Why did you decide to hire?
Okay.
And they can also say, I don't know, ask the hiring manager. Then you got to make sure you ask the hiring manager.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. That makes
What do you think?
sense. I think I like those questions. Yeah, it's kind of more so like getting to know and you're interested type in the
Hmm.
company.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I noted those down. And I think for
Yeah.
the elevator pitch, again, you said do like
Hmm.
present, past, and future. And
Hmm.
how limited to how long would you say it should be?
I
And what
wouldn't
should I
take more
highlight?
than like 1 to 2 minutes
Okay,
max. These recruiters listen to people's pitch all the time.
it's true.
So you don't want to bore them with it. If anything, like make it fun for them.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah.
And
and it
then
takes some time. Yeah. Go ahead.
what do you think are the most important things to highlight?
You ask ChatGPT that.
Okay.
I'm interviewing this company for this position. Here's the job description, and here's my
Okay.
resume. What do you think is the most important thing to highlight? Or you can ask ChatGPT, I'm interviewing this company. This is a job position. This is my resume. What ask me questions that can tease out the highlight in my academic or working experience. So
Okay.
then ChatGPT will give you a list of questions, and you can just write it out and answer it, and have it format for you.
Sweet. Okay, okay.
I have something to
So
add on to for the questions.
what?
I was also trying to suss out if a company's working culture is where I'm looking for, because that was something important to me when I was looking for jobs. So I tend to ask the recruiter, what is one fond memory you have since you joined this company?
Okay.
Instead of saying like, "Oh, well, what do you like about working?" Because they're gonna give you a pitch about why you should join this company. But you can ask them on a personal note. From
Okay.
your perspective, what is one fond memory? Like one good memory you have, or that reminded you, or that like reassured you why you joined the company.
Okay, okay. I like that one. Gives you an
Yeah.
idea of the culture.
Yeah. If
Okay.
that's important to you. So you might want to ask yourself in your next job hunting experience, like you're in a next job, what are important to you?
Yeah. I see what you mean. Oh, this will be interesting for sure. I guess
Hmm.
my last thing, is it
Hmm.
weird to ask for feedback from the recruiter at the end? Or like
Like on the call.
or like do I guess this is how I'm thinking. Like
Hmm.
after this is done, since this is my first time ever going through it, like partially I would love to know what their thoughts are. And I don't know if I should like wait until they like how immediate I guess let me break this question apart. First question is how long after this ends do they usually reach back or from your experience?
You can ask them that question. Hey, when could I expect to hear back from you?
Okay. Okay. And then if let's say I heard back and it's actually like, oh yeah, like I don't know what they'll say, but like they say, oh, well let's schedule you with the hiring manager, or the opposite, like, oh sorry, like you didn't fit in. Like, can I respond, be like, oh no worries, can I get some feedback of how I performed, like type of thing, or how would you how would you go about getting feedback?
Yeah, and so you might not get feedback, but always always ask. Like after the call, you could I always send a follow-up email saying like, "Hey, thank you for meeting with me, this and that." And they're gonna give you an answer, right? Either you move forward or not. And if you do move forward, is in their incentives to meet with you and give you feedback. So you can ask them, "Hey, are there any feedback you can provide me or help me prep for the next interview?" And they might be able to get on call to prep with you. They might not be able to provide you feedback, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay, that's if I move
And
along.
yeah, and if you didn't move along, they'll be like, "Hey, sorry, this is not working out." You can be like, "That's okay. Thank you for interviewing me. I was curious if you can provide any feedback for me, just so that I know how to, present myself better, or how to interview, or anything like that." Or just like wondering, why are you not a good fit?
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll be able to get back to you. Sometimes they don't.
Okay.
So have that expectation,
Yeah. Okay.
and you might
Sounds
get an auto reject,
like what is that?
like a no reply
Oh,
rejection. So be prepared for all sorts of experience.
okay. What do you think if I don't hear back about like in a week, maybe I could follow back and be like, hey, I just wanted to get feedback on how
Yeah,
I
so so if you don't get hear back within like 5 business days, I would follow up, not asking for feedback, but
okay.
curious if they have heard anything. And then
Okay.
always say, "Is there anything I can do? Please let me know."
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. I kind of have a better idea of what to
Hmm.
expect.
Yeah, you can do this. And
It'll
it might
be
not work the first time, but it'll take a couple tries.
definitely, yeah, no, I could
Hmm.
I'm going in with a mindset of like, you know, I'm really curious to see like I guess I don't think I've been through a formal interview process before, so in a way, even if I kind of do terrible, at the same time, at least now I know what to expect the next
Hmm.
time. So I think
Hmm.
I'm just excited overall to just really go through it. I just
Hmm.
think, yeah, I need to work on my confidence. I think that's like my biggest thing where I'm just worried
Hmm.
I'll just start stuttering and be like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing."
Yeah. I think
Ah,
if you do halfway through, you can even voice out loud, "Oh, shoot, I'm rumbling," and then just stop yourself. And then you can say, "I'll just stop myself here."
okay.
Like, actually verbalizing it, like, "I'll just stop myself here," and then the recruiter will take over.
So, yeah, okay,
And
yeah.
something I wanna know is usually the call is, like, 30 minutes, so keep
Uh-huh,
your eye on the clock, and one thing that I do that I don't know actually how people feel about it, but again, the goal is to make people like you more. You want to present to them you're a genuine and you're a mindful person. So when I keep my eye on the clock and when it strikes to the time that's getting close, I'll be like, and if I have like a longer answer, I'll ask the person, "Hey, we're getting close. There's 2 minutes left. Are you okay going over? I have another question."
okay.
Or
Okay,
if you're in the middle of answering the question, then you can be like, "Oh, I just noticed," or a little over, "Are you okay with going over? Let me finish the answer." And sometimes they'll be like, "No, it's okay, we're good." Or sometimes they're like, "Yeah, yeah, totally, I have time. Let's finish
yeah,
this up." So just the gesture of you asking and then verbally saying, "I want to respect your time,"
okay.
presents a lot.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
See, okay, I'm feeling good about this. Oh,
Mhm,
also I do yeah, so my meeting is tomorrow at 2 p.m. or
mhm,
1:30 p.m. So I think I'm gonna send an email early in the morning just asking
mhm,
them what to expect
mhm,
or how should I prepare for this? And then hopefully
mhm,
they from what I've seen, they've been consistently responding around 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So I'm like, I think they'll probably be able to get back to me.
mhm.
So I think I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Do you think it's a bad idea if I send an email right now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. Because I already responded and I said, oh, I confirmed that that time works for me and then I don't
Mhm.
need any accommodations. And then I told them I'm looking forward to the conversation. So, but I didn't ask about what to expect. So I guess I'm going to follow up.
Yeah, yeah, you can just be like, "Oh, I'm just prepping for our conversation. I was curious if you can tell me what to expect. I wanna really respect your time. I wanna really be able to, I don't know, utilize our time wisely," or something. Like,
Okay.
efficiently or anything along the line that I wanna respect your time.
Okay. So I'll be like, oh, and I was wondering if you could give me if you could share an idea of what I could expect or got
Yeah,
me
I would
stuttering
say
already.
okay, aside from that, I was going to say before your interview, I like to hop on a call 5 minutes early, and then I'll take deep breaths.
Okay.
I'll make sure the lighting is right, I'll make sure that if there is a call, like, not on the cell phone, I will
Mhm.
make sure that I look right, I sound right, audio is fine, and then I'll just take deep breaths.
Okay.
I keep my camera on just in case they
Oh,
could join any minute. But if I join early, I usually take 3 deep breaths, like, really, like, mindful, like, long
okay.
inhale and exhale, because I know I'm nervous,
Yeah.
and being able to take a deep breath really helps me out.
Okay.
So that and okay, now let me answer the question about how do I follow up when I already said, "Hey, looking forward to talk to you tomorrow." You can just say, "Hey, I'm prepping for this. I'm excited for our conversation. Do you think there's any chance you can share what I could expect or what you expect me to talk about in our screening call? I want to be prepared and respect your time."
Okay.
And it could really just be, "Hey, don't worry about it. Like, it's all cool. I just want to get to know you."
Okay.
So I want you to also be able to do some research on either how this particular company do recruiting calls or in the engineering or the development world, how the first recruiting call usually go, or for
Okay.
you, like testing.
Okay.
And take notes, be curious, be respectful, and there's a reason they reach out to you because they could see a potential.
Thanks. All right. Okay. I'm excited to see how this go.
Mhm,
Okay. Yeah, I'll be fine.
mhm. I
Yeah.
think
I
it will
think.
be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely will. I'm just thinking worst case scenario. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I need to stop that. But okay. I think.
Wait, let's go through worst case scenario, or you should go through that and then see if you can accept it and see where the worst case is coming from and how do you help yourself recover from it. It's almost like debugging.
Yeah. I guess like I mean we kind of talked a bit about it where it's like, what if I start stuttering or I don't know what I'm saying? But you also did say like verbalize it and like tell them so that I have that in mind. I guess my biggest concern, like, what if like I'm gonna probably prepare like tonight, like on like security stuff just to get a refresher. But part of me is like, okay, what if they ask me a question that I don't know? And I guess I feel like sometimes I might like I immediately go into like, okay, what can I say instead of actually just like telling them. But I also don't want like I guess in my mind I need to figure out what to say instead of, oh, I'm not sure how to answer that question. I feel like there's a better way to
Mhm.
say that.
Yeah, yeah, just, be really honest. I don't know how to answer that question or, um, I don't have anything in mind. And I always say, however, this is how I approach it. Like,
Okay.
try to share with them your general approach when something is foreign, something's unknown to you.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
try to
and I was also
explain
gonna
what
say oh, go ahead, finish.
oh, but like just kind of following, like kind of try to be like, yeah, I don't know, but like typically I would go do this to like
Mhm,
learn, get an
mhm.
idea, or reach out to someone.
Yeah, yeah, and if you can name, like, websites like, Stack Overflow or something, I don't
Okay.
really know. Be specific about, like, how you will go about learning it, I think it's even more valuable than you having experience,
Okay.
right?
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you were gonna say something though, and I cut you off.
Oh, I this is different, but I was thinking about, like, how the call was tomorrow, and I
Mm.
understand that you wanted to meet with them as soon as possible. I also want you to prioritize yourself to be able to prep for it. So whenever a recruiter reach out to me, then I ask myself, do I have the time to prep for it? Then I will give them plus 1 day of my availability
Mm,
so that I give myself a buffer. I don't literally give them every single availability that I have. I give them the
that's fair.
time that I think I'll be prepared and ready.
That is fair. True. 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 I guess
Mhm.
I was like, I don't know at all what to expect. So I was like, I want to know now what this is about, or what is it? So
Yeah, because
I
it's
was
really exciting.
It is. It was very
Mhm.
yeah, like, I think yesterday when I saw that email, I was like, "What? Like, what? Like, finally,
Mhm.
my resume got to
Yeah.
someone. It's actually in someone's physical hand." So that's kinda where I was kind of
Mhm.
I'm more so excited, to be honest, to go through this,
Mhm.
and I think
Mhm.
it's good to know that I could actually be honest and be like, "Hey, this is my first time going through a screening call, I'm really excited to I could share." Like, I guess
Yeah,
I
you can just
prefer
say
that
that.
in general, like, I prefer being
Yeah.
on like, I guess I'm more of a type of like, I like friendly conversations where I could just like,
Mhm.
you know, answer questions, but also like make jokes and laugh. So it doesn't, compared to like formal, strict like setup, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Mhm.
So knowing that I could do that, it makes it a bit more
Yeah.
calm. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
And
think
also,
it's whatever energy that you're presenting yourself
mhm,
is also the recruiter's way of evaluating. Because if the company is overall very serious and you're
mhm,
more on a more casual side, then they're gonna ask themselves, "Do we want someone like that?" Or maybe the answer is yes, because we're all too serious. Or the answer is no, I don't think this is good. Then it might not work, but at least you're staying authentic to yourself and you're not pretending someone that you're not, which means when you're actually working, you won't be suffering.
that is true. You got a point.
So I'm really
You,
excited for you. This is great. Yeah, you wanna scream a little bit?
yeah, I'm very curious how that's gonna go tomorrow.
Mhm,
It was
mhm,
scheduled for like a mid-work day, so I was like, oh,
mhm.
but I would rather do that instead. So I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm excited for sure. I'll let
mhm.
you know.
Yeah, of course, let me know how it goes after. And for me, when I'm looking for a job while still working, I make sure I block the 30 minutes before and the 30 minutes after the meeting, just so that either I have more time to do last minute prep or I can decompress myself a little bit before returning to work because I don't want to slack off on my actual job.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That I need to check. I actually did that. I think I did, but
Mhm.
that's a good point as well to keep in mind for future ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you think overall? Like compared to when we first jump on to recording to now, how do you feel?
I feel a bit more calm and like, like collected, like very chill right now. I think there's definitely stuff I need to go through. There was a lot of great points. And I'm like, okay, I need to like go through and like make sure to prioritize those just so
Mhm.
I know like right before I feel like I'm going to an exam. That's how I feel like. I was like, okay, I need to
Mhm.
make like a
Mhm.
note sheet of what are things that I need to remember. So then when it actually starts, like I'm like, okay, remember this is this. So then when I'm going in, it's still fresh in my mind and I actually can remember. But I think, yeah, I think I'm ready for it tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, you got this. You can do it. You can do
I
it.
can
And
do
always
it.
remember, when in doubt, breath. And I want you
Yeah.
to pause rather than start mumbling or start stumbling or start saying like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Take a
Okay, yeah.
pause, and you can even say, let me think about this. And then you pause for 30 seconds. I have
That makes
paused for 30 seconds.
okay. That is yeah. I think it just
Yeah,
makes me
and then I'll
nervous
answer. Mhm,
that someone is evaluating me. Like, part of me is like, "Oh, can we just have, like, a chill conversation?" Like,
mhm.
kinda I feel like I'm being graded for my performance here.
It is. You are.
Yes. See,
And
the
that's
thing
the
is
only way that you know if you're good in the industry or not.
that is
It is
true.
very scary having someone judge on your performance, but show them what you got because you have real stuff.
That makes sense. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I always, like, had anxiety when it comes to, like, taking standardized testing. So, like,
Mhm,
the SATs or the AP exams, like, I always hated those, so I tried my best to avoid them because I always didn't agree on, like, this one moment, these couple hours to decide if you are good at this or not. So,
mhm.
I guess it came back to me in job applications. I have to face it.
Yeah, I think that's something I struggle with too. I wish these people could just see me day to day, then they would know, but they
Right.
don't. So that's a skill to have, and I had to develop that so that I'll be able to get in and then show them, "Hey, if you just look at me every day, I'm just the same, I'm just as excellent as how I sold you on it for the interview."
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, and you got this, you got this.
Yes, I do got this. It'll be
I
fun.
think it really means you really care. If you're not a little nervous, then you don't want it really bad.
Yeah, that is true. The
You can
nervous
do
is
it.
hell yeah, I could do this.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think that's kinda
Yeah,
mainly what I had questions about. Is there
okay.
anything that you believe I forgot to ask about?
Keep notes. Keep notes
Mhm.
on what you keep notes on what they ask you, and keep notes on what you answered.
Okay, keep notes.
Mhm. As you interview more and more companies, you can refer back.
That makes sense. Okay, I'll try. But also, I guess probably after the
Yeah, yeah,
meeting. Yeah.
after. Yeah, like, try to recall what you answered or something like that.
Okay, okay. Sweet. Sounds I'll keep that in mind.
Mhm. Or you can also tell them, "Hey, I have a notepad open. I'm typing,"
I honestly,
because
I
they'll
don't
be
know.
doing the same. They'll be taking notes on your
True.
answers, right?
True, true, true. Damn.
You're interviewing the company as much as they're interviewing you. Because if you don't like them, doesn't matter. So it's also their job to present themselves as likable to you as possible.
Okay. You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah, yeah, and you can do it. Give them all you got.
Hell yeah. Well, this will be fun. If I get it, oh my gosh, that'll be
Mhm.
so funny. Imagine I work at the same company as you.
Yeah, it would be really exciting. And when in doubt, take a deep breath.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like, I think if you forgot everything that we talked about today, take a deep breath.
Okay. Yes, I will remember to do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
I appreciate
Alrighty.
you a lot for this. This is amazing. This is greatly helpful for me. I
I'm
appreciate
so
it.
pumped for you.
Thank you, thank you. Me too, me too.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Bye.